And we are live. What's going on, everybody? This is AJ Reacts 2. I am AJ, your host, and today I have a very special video. I'm going to be discussing the first season of HBO's limited series, We Are Who We Are, and I am accompanied by none other than Eve from CineMantics. I am very excited to just kind of dive into the series and just kind of discuss what we liked about it, what we didn't like about it, and just just have an overall a good time. So I'm ready to get into this thing. So let's go. Eve, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. We kind of been talking back and forth about this series as it's been on TV, but now the season has wrapped earlier this week, and I kind of wanted to just get on here and discuss the season with you, what our thoughts were, and just kind of like where our heads at with the whole thing. So, I guess to start off, what were your first thoughts when you saw the trailer to this? Like, what was your first thoughts?
So the trailer for it was more of like a teaser for me, if anything, because it didn't really give too much away, right?
Yeah.
It just seemed very like, how do I put this? So it was very vague. It
Yeah.
seemed more of like it wasn't really giving anything away, like
Mhm.
at all.
Mhm.
So I guess like the music kind of impressed me. Like maybe it was the way it was edited kind of impressed me a little bit. So
Yeah.
I was pulled in a little bit. But then after the first episode, what they typically do is they kind of do like, okay, this is what you're gonna expect in the season.
Yeah.
That type of a trailer. That
Mhm.
one was the one that impressed me the most.
So after the first episode, like,
Yeah.
okay, like kind of like a this is what to expect type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah. I feel you on that, and I kind of felt the same way. Like, it really felt like a moody type of show. It had a vibe to it that was like interesting, and the music, like just like you were saying, it was edited well to draw you in, and
yeah.
I really enjoyed that aspect. But watching the show, so seeing the first episode, what were your thoughts then? After that first episode, yeah.
Okay, so watching the first episode,
Uh-huh.
I mean, you know this because we talked about this, but I just
Yeah.
found the main character. I think his name is
Frasier.
Frasier. He was very obnoxious to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I understand like that was the intent that they were probably going for. Like, let's make the most obnoxious, annoying teenager possible.
Yeah.
A very unlikable character.
Yeah.
So they did a good job because it worked. I really disliked him to the point where I did not want to continue watching the show. Also, that one scene, I believe it's episode 1, where he slaps her. He slaps the mom.
Yep.
And then she just hugs him.
Yeah.
Which is not a natural reaction.
You was like, nah, that ain't how it go down in my house. No, not at all.
I mean, would you?
No, definitely not. That would be a huge no. But I feel like these characters come from a different world, different perspectives, things that we don't necessarily understand because that's not how we were raised, or how we experience life. So it was interesting to get a different perspective for sure with these characters. But we'll dive deeper into that soon. We got some folks in the comments. I think I got a couple comments here.
Cool.
I don't really know if this is a real person, but Axel Simmons. I don't. Thank you for showing up. But yeah, so moving on. I wanted to talk about these characters and these actors, the actors that portray these characters. Have you seen any of these actors in any other work?
Yeah. So I mean, the main character, he was isn't he from It?
And, yeah, he was in the movie It.
Damn.
The remake.
Yeah, he's a pretty good actor because I've also seen him in A Beautiful Boy.
Yeah, he's in that as
With,
well.
yeah, he was really good in that. And
Mhm.
so the actress that plays the mom in this show,
Sarah.
Chloe, yeah,
There's
Sarah.
two moms.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Sarah, is that
The
who
blonde
you mean?
one.
The blonde one. Okay, yeah, Sarah.
Chloe, I don't
Yeah,
know how to say
Chloe
her last name, Savinji or something.
Seven G. Yeah.
I've seen her in a bunch of stuff before. She hasn't really done any work recently, I feel like. I
Yeah, the
feel like,
last thing I saw her
yeah.
in was a movie called Queen and Slim.
Oh,
And
that's right.
she had a
Was
very
she
minute part in that film.
really? I don't
Yeah,
even know if we're in there.
it wasn't really a huge role at all.
What was her role? Who was she?
Um, the couple stayed at her house, her and her husband's house for a night or something like that.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And
So
was she the one that called?
I think so.
Was that
Yeah,
it
I'm
then?
pretty sure it's
Okay.
been a minute since I've seen the movie, but I think
Yeah.
she called and
Oh,
ratting them out. But anyway, so I
sorry.
kind of just want to go down the list and talk about just mention who these actors portrayed in the show. Jack Dylan Grazer was Frasier. Jordan Christine Simon, it was Caitlin slash Harper. Kid Cudi was Richard. Francesca Scorsese was Brittany. Spence Moore, the second, was Danny. Faith Alibi was Jenny, and Chloe Savinji was Sarah. Um, Also, we have Sam and Maggie. Sam was portrayed by Benjamin L. Taylor II, and Maggie was portrayed by Alice Braga. So it had a lot of actors that I didn't really know, and you know the thing about having non well known actors is it's kind of hard to connect with those characters. So that brings me to my next point, the character slash story.
Yeah.
And I just kind of wanted like these I really wanted to connect with these characters. And for some reason it felt a little off to where I couldn't connect to them. The main two characters, Caitlin and Frasier, those were definitely the main two that I really connected with. But any of the other characters and the situations that were going on with them, it was kind of hard to, get in, dive into those stories. What about you?
They were definitely side stories,
Yeah.
I don't think they necessarily were meant to be like connected. But like
Mhm.
that one character, Brittany, she was
Yeah.
very confusing. I mean,
Yeah.
especially in the last episode, like,
Yes.
what she does to Caitlin all of a sudden,
Yeah.
like in the
Yeah.
bed.
And you can say it. This is a spoiler filled
Oh, okay.
discussion. This is spoiler filled. So
When she makes out with
with
Caitlin and
Caitlyn, yeah.
Caitlin,
And
what?
that took me way back too, because she was just saying that she was in love with Sam.
Right?
So it was just a lot of confusion with these characters. I think that's not the only instance with these characters where I'm just kind of confused, because Jack Dylan Grazer, he seems really interested in Caitlyn. We don't know if they're like in a relationship or they're just friends.
Right.
And then he meets someone, kisses them, then he wants to be with Caitlyn, and like it's just like a lot of things going on with these characters, and like we can't really pinpoint where their mind is at.
And maybe I don't want to try to get too deep here, but
Yeah.
maybe that was kind of intentional too, like especially with Brittany, to show us, because these are teenagers, and teenagers are very wishy-washy, right? They don't really know.
Yeah.
Maybe
This was to the extreme though, I felt like.
yeah, maybe perhaps it was intentional that they showed the wishy-washiness of teenagers, right? They're just so like they're so indecisive, right? Because they just don't know. One day I love Sam, the next day I love Caitlin. It's always been you, Caitlin. It's always been you.
Yeah, I don't see. I think that's one of the reasons that I just could not connect with these characters as much as I wanted to. And also the deal with
when that guy died, right? I didn't even feel
Yeah, with
nothing.
Craig.
Like,
Yeah.
okay.
He died, and it meant a lot to the group. And I'm just sitting over here like, mm, I'm sorry. I want to like feel bad. It just wasn't something that
Yeah.
like really hit me.
I think
I think I think it had to do with the story and the way it was told.
I think also because he wasn't really a main character, so he was
Yeah.
like barely in the show. And for us,
Yeah, honestly,
right.
because when they announced someone died, I was like, who?
Who? I
Who?
had a feeling though. I had a feeling that it was somebody like one of the soldiers though.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's just, but how would they expect us to feel connected to a character that was only in there for maybe 10 minutes in total tops? Like,
yeah, yeah. Seriously, seriously, and I guess they had that whole episode. Remember, they had the whole episode where they were
party.
celebrating,
Yeah.
the marriage, and I think it was
Oh my
Craig
God.
who
That
got
was a
married.
wild episode.
That
Episode
was
4.
an insane episode. It was just like a lot of stuff going on. And I kind of
Right.
want to talk about that too. Like, what do you think about these kids basically like doing these mature things and how it's portrayed on screen? What do you think about that?
So I don't agree with it, but that's beside the point.
Yeah,
I just, at first I'm like, this can't be real. I think I
yeah,
had this conversation with somebody. They're like, nah, that can't be real. And I said, like, I think it's absolutely real. I
yeah,
mean, look, like there's that show too that we both like, Euphoria.
yeah,
And Euphoria, it's not that extreme. We didn't see a party like that where it was that graphic, right? Where we saw all that stuff, but we saw a lot of drugs.
yeah.
We saw a lot of
We
drugs.
did, we did, and like hard drugs too. Like,
Right. And
yeah,
there's a lot of hookups in Euphoria. Like everybody's like passing each other along, like it's no big deal. In
yeah,
this, we see, sex being treated the same way, just very casually, right? Like it's no big
yeah,
deal. Like an
yeah.
orgy in a sense. It really was an orgy if you really think about
Basically,
it. It
it
really
basically was.
so I thought that was a little over the top.
Yeah.
And then, but I don't know. Do you let your episodes just play out when you're watching it, when you're streaming it? Because I let it play out one time and it has like this behind the scenes
Yeah.
type of thing where the director talks about the episodes, right?
Yeah.
So I let this one play out and I was just listening to what the director, Luca, whatever,
Luca
had to
Guadagnino.
say about this particular episode. And I just thought it was really interesting to hear him explain why that needed to be shot, why it needed to be that way. And it was basically he wanted to emphasize like this like last hurrah, like this big like goodbye type of thing to this guy. I don't know what his name is, the one that died.
Craig.
Before he goes, because Craig was like this really important being to that group because he was the one person that he was that person that brought everyone together despite the differences. So for him to be leaving was a big deal to the whole group because that meant that they were going to be divided.
Yeah, and I felt like it wasn't very well explained beforehand, but like after he died, we really saw like how much he meant to them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like they took a whole episode, them going back to that house that they were at and like just wrecking it and just like breaking down, crying, and like that whole episode, I was just like, I didn't realize that he meant that much to them, even though like one of your friends passed, and that's sad. That's definitely sad. Don't get me wrong, but it was just like, really, I didn't know that it was like that big of a deal for him to be gone.
Right. So in that episode, also the director was saying that house was like their Eden, like their escape, right? No rules, anything goes type of thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, I mean, that party seemed a little extreme, though. That episode just seemed a little extreme because, like, you still have to keep in mind their age. It's not like they're 17, 18, 19.
Young.
They're 14.
Young.
Maybe 15 at the most.
Yeah.
And just, like, also, actors and actresses actually doing this and feeling comfortable with it, like, that's a whole
I'm sure like when they sign up for this, they let them know, okay, here this is gonna be a different kind of set over here, so just make sure their parents probably have to be involved in everything. So
Full on nude.
I really hope they, people know, like they know what they're getting into when they sign up for this type of role.
But also, what I was going to mention too, it's also a cultural thing, I think, because in Europe, it's just a different lifestyle.
Yeah, and I think that's what they tried to portray as well.
Yeah,
especially like with the drinking and like kind of like we call it underage drinking, but I feel like that's just normal. Like have a 14-year-old have a glass of wine or 2 glasses of wine at dinner with the parents, and like everything is fine, So yeah, that it's just like for me, I'm just like that's odd. That's just odd for me.
Yeah, and then the relationship, the ages, like the age difference too, it just is different over there too. They don't see it as a big deal. Over here, it's illegal. Over there, it's like it's something different over there. It's not illegal, I don't think.
Yeah, and I think that's one reason why it was just hard to connect to the story, because it was just kind of far fetched in our minds. I don't want to speak for you, but like for me, it was just kind of far fetched, like these different things. So I think while watching it, I just had to keep in mind, like, this is a different perspective. This is not me. This is this is different,
Oh, so. For me personally, it wasn't that far fetched for me to believe that that's a possibility that actually happens.
Well, yeah,
because in high school, I've never been to those parties before. I've never been to any parties actually, but I remember seeing like the next day, like on a Monday, going back to school on a Monday after like the weekend, and hearing about these massive parties. I do know that these things really do exist, because I've seen pictures when I was in high school of like practically like orgy looking pictures where everyone's kind of lined up together, just like boy, girl, boy. Like I've seen pictures like that in my high school.
And I'm not really saying that they're far-fetched, like they don't happen, but just like seeing it on screen and then like seeing the parents be okay with certain things. Crazy. I think that's why I say it's far-fetched. But I do know like crazy things do happen at parties. I do know that. But yeah, so kind of moving on to the cinematography and the soundtrack. What did you feel about this? I think this is one of my favorite parts of the show, honestly.
So yeah, I actually thought it was a really nice, maybe this is a controversial statement, but I actually thought that this was kind of like, it reminded me of one big music video.
Okay, yeah, like I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, because it's shot very well. It's edited kind of weird. I think me and you talked about it, how sometimes it has like that weird freeze frame where she'll be up in the air and just.
And I thought that my screen was like glitching out. Like I literally thought like my streaming app or whatever I was using was like glitching out. Like I thought something was wrong. Like, so watching that, and then I had to reach out to you. I was like, is this normal? Is this something that is happening for everybody? And you say, yeah, that happened for me too. So I think if I would have known that, I probably would have looked at it differently. But I was just like, my video is messing up. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's probably like the artsy perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, let's just let's just emphasize this moment. So let's freeze frame it, type of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what it was supposed to be. Like capture this moment. And I think they did something like that in the finale episode, but it was like way more elaborate. It was a lot of different shots. Like back to back when she was purchasing the Domino's pizza and things like that. Yeah, like I thought that was well done, but certain scenes beforehand that were doing that were just kind of like, is this normal? Is this something that's supposed to be happening? So maybe I need to go back and watch those scenes that did that, and kind of like take it in that way.
I was gonna say also, do you remember? I think it was, I don't know if it was episode 6 or 7, when Frasier and Caitlin are like doing this music video.
Oh yeah, right? That dance, the dance sequence
was so out of place and so random.
It was, but
they look at the camera.
Yeah, they looked at the camera and all that, and I saw that coming because I saw a trailer of that part. and I was like, what is happening here? Like something crazy is happening. So yeah, that whole scene was just, it was interesting.
I
You
did like
didn't
it.
care for it.
No, it was so random. It almost felt like filler. Like he just needed to fill time. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and the dance. No, don't apologize because that's how you feel. And I see where you're coming from for sure. I don't know if I feel the exact same way. I'm not sure, but yeah, it was definitely interesting. It seemed odd. It was definitely odd, but there are so many things odd about
Right.
this show, in my opinion. So
But I do
other people
appreciate
might not feel that way though.
I do appreciate the soundtrack. One thing I could say about that is they had this consistency with the soundtrack, right? Blood
Mm-hmm.
Orange.
Mm-hmm.
How Frasier's love for this group,
This band, yeah, group.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Blood Orange from the very beginning, and I think he even introduces Caitlin to them because I don't think she knew about them, or maybe she did. I wasn't sure,
Mm-hmm.
but then they have like this love for this one particular song, right? And that's the
Mm-hmm.
same song they play in their music video,
Yeah.
and then they end up going to the concert.
Mm-hmm. On the finale episode.
Yeah, and then she tells the guy what her favorite song is, which is the same song as the music video and the one that they've been hearing like since day
Throughout the
one.
whole
Yeah.
whole season, basically.
So I thought that was a nice, like,
Yeah,
they went full circle basically with that. So I
yeah,
thought it was
I
nice.
like that as well. That's a great point. But next on our topics, Luca Guadagnino. I think this is the first project that I've seen from him that he wrote and directed. I know that he did Call Me by Your Name as well, the film, and just any general thoughts about his process, what he enjoys to do. What do you think?
I'm not too much of a fan. I only know Call Me by Your Name. I'm not too
Mm-hmm.
sure what else he's done, but I'm not a huge fan of that movie. I know it's a super, super beloved film,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm probably gonna be hated for that because I know they have that movie has big fans, like
Yeah, I know.
fandom.
I know it.
So I see posts like literally every day and every day.
Yeah, I
So
haven't seen the film, so I have to. It's on my list to watch, but I haven't seen it yet.
yeah, I mean, but well, I will say this: there's a lot of similarities between the movie "Call Me by Your Name" and the show. They're both very artsy, I feel, and they are supported by the soundtrack,
Mm-hmm.
100%. Like the soundtrack for "Call Me by Your Name" was really great.
Okay,
And then
good to know.
he does the same thing here with this show, where he really emphasizes music as he uses it as a tool, if anything, to
Yeah.
tell a story.
Okay,
So I feel like
good to
that's
know.
something. Yeah, that's
Good to
good.
know. Look, yeah, to look forward to, something to look forward to. He also did Suspiria. He directed Suspiria.
He did the new
2018.
one.
Yeah, 2018. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's a
Yep.
very
He did that
different
too.
film.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yep.
I
So
like.
yeah, I like I said, this is the only project I've seen from him, so I couldn't really speak on a lot of his work. But from this show, it has an interesting take. It's different perspectives for sure, and I always enjoy seeing different perspectives that are not my own. And just kind of like accepting that, and like seeing just seeing their perspective is interesting to me. So I think he's smart in the way he does certain things, and other things I don't really care for. He really enjoys doing things with kids, like small kids, and like making them do mature things, and that's something that is kind of like off-putting to me.
It's
But
cringy.
yeah, it's a little cringy in my opinion, but I know some people that don't really have issue with that, and I'm not, saying anything against them, but that's just me personally. So yeah, that brings us to our final topic, the finale and the overall score. So by the end of the season, how are you feeling about everything that happened, and how do you feel like they like wrapped it together? Do you think they did a pretty good job at that?
So I think Okay, so basically, I know it's going to sound messed up, but so I recently found out that it's a limited series. There's not going to be a season 2.
Yeah, no season 2.
Which to me is perfect.
Yeah.
Because the way that it ended like with closure, right? It didn't have any like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. No, we know.
Yeah, we know.
So,
and it's not something that, oh, we got to wait for season 2. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And I love that he closed it off like that. We're not going to be wondering like what's going to happen to Caitlin, what's going to happen to we're good.
Yeah.
So I think that the overall score that I give it would probably be like a 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing higher than a 7, just because I think that Luca, he just overcomplicated this show, over dramatized. I don't know how to say that word, but he just went over the top. Like, I think that maybe there's just a huge popularity and a huge interest in like young adult kind of shows, right? Like with Euphoria. And I know a lot of people were comparing like Euphoria to the show, which isn't necessarily fair, just because we have the same troubled teenager type of thing going on. That doesn't necessarily mean they're the same type of show, right? Because they're different issues. But I mean, if we're gonna go there, Euphoria did it better. But
I was okay. I wanted to say this real quick before you finish. When I saw the trailer for the show, I was looking for the next Euphoria because I love that show. That show is so good. So I was like, is this going to be the next Euphoria? And that's kind of how I was going into it, expecting. But
I think that's what they were trying to sell us on. That they were really banking on that. They're like, how can we play this angle? Like, we know Euphoria was successful, so let's really play on this. Like, people love troubled young adults. So I think that's what their intention was. Like, let's get the same fan base of Euphoria and bring them over here.
Yeah.
But it's not the same kind of show.
It's not. It really isn't.
Perhaps it was because it was based on a military base, which made it like not as interesting.
Yeah.
They limited it extremely, because what kind of experiences can you really have when you're limited?
Yeah. And they kind of tried to throw in a little bit of like political type. I don't know what they really wanted to do with that, with the election. I think it was like in 2016 where it was like Trump and Hillary were, debating, and they were, running for office. And it was just like seemed a bit off. And I don't really know the point. I don't really know the point of including that. But yeah, it was okay. So getting into my overall score and just thoughts about the show, in a nutshell. I enjoyed certain aspects, but overall I didn't really care for it. I enjoyed the cinematography. It was great. I enjoyed the soundtrack. And Jack Dylan Grazer was amazing in his role as Frasier. And that's really the only character I really cared about the whole time. Caitlin, but like, and their dynamic was probably the most interesting dynamic of the whole show, in my opinion. But Jack Dylan Grazer, I'm ready to see more from him after this role that he took. But overall score, I would give it a 6.5, 6.5 out of 10. It was just really slow at some parts, and it just didn't interest me. It didn't captivate me the way I really wanted it to. But yeah, so
you brought up a good point though. Like, Jack, he was a really good actor. Like, I give you that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he's not that obnoxious and annoying in real life.
I don't think he's that, because we talked about that. You said you think that he's kind of like obnoxious in real life, but I don't know.
Hey, you know what I was going to tell you?
What?
Is that he got a lot better though.
Mm-hmm.
Like throughout the season, he wasn't as obnoxious and annoying. At least
sometimes he was, like when he was texting his mom, he said, "I'm not gonna talk to you for 11 days," and then like he grabbed her from the back of the head and said, "I hate you. I want you to die." And like it was kind of, he was still kind of annoying, but I think he just did that so well. Like It just kind of was like, this is him. This is Frasier, and this is his perspective on life. So
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of just had to accept what he was doing.
I think Caitlin had brought that up too. I think Kid Cudi's character asked her, like, why do you hang out with him or something like that, or such and such. And she had said, like, you don't get him or something, like, once you get to know him type of thing, like, he's a lot different or something like something along that lines. And I was like, that's true. Because, like, if you watch the show a little bit more, you get to see like a different side of Frasier where he's a little bit more caring, more compassionate, and he is capable of being a friend if you allow him to be, right? So Caitlin was the one that basically gave him a chance. Nobody else gave him a chance from that school,
True.
So I think
I think Brittany tried to at the beginning.
He tried to, but I think he also might have social anxiety because he's very skittish, he doesn't seem to be the one to approach, but if he's approached, then he won't
Yeah, well, I was talking about Brittany, Martin Scorsese's daughter.
Yeah.
She tried to like kind of take him under her wing like earlier in the season, and then like something happened with that where they didn't really connect. And
they were making fun of him, remember?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And this show overall, it had some really cool aspects to it, but overall it didn't stick the landing for me. And I kind of want on a pretty much ending note, Kid Cudi.
Right.
What did you think about Kid Cudi's character, his acting, because he's a rapper. So like
I love Kid Cudi. I love his music.
Yeah. So how'd you feel as like him in this role? How'd you feel about that?
That was really random, but I know he's trying to do more acting. I recently saw him in another film, but he didn't have like a major role. So for the most part, I like when musicians kind of like do that little transition to the other side where they're making movies and stuff. Only if they're good, because I've seen some pretty bad performances before of like models or something trying to make it in the industry of movies, and I thought he did pretty well.
You thought he did good?
Yeah, do you think he did pretty well?
Yeah, personally, I did enjoy his performance. There were some scenes where I was just like, not great, Kid Cudi, not great. But other scenes I was like, okay, he did a really good job. The scene in particular I'm thinking of that was a little like off to me was when Caitlin shaved her head and she came home and he was angry with her and he was kind of yelling at her like, who made you do this? And that scene in particular was just like, not quite, man. But other scenes like when he was angry at the memorial and stuff like that, that really was. I thought that was good. He was just just frustrated about his comrades that got killed, and I thought that performance was really good. So yeah, like here and there, it was a little spotty, but for the most part, he was decent.
Question for you: how would you improve it? Like, if there is a way that you would change things, what would you change about it?
About his performance?
No, like everything, like the show.
The show. I would probably make the story more straight, if that makes sense, like more straightforward, not as messy, not as many moving parts, and just kind of like a lot of different storylines going on. And like I wouldn't make it as messy as it was. I feel like like you said, there was like scenes at the end of each episode where they would talk about what the episode was about. And I watched the one for the finale, and he said, and Luca Guadagnino said, we wanted this show to be confusing to people. He literally said that. He came out and said, like, this confused when they watch this, because the beauty of it. I'm just like, I don't know why you want your show to be confusing to people. Like
that's so pretentious.
Exactly. I think that's like so pretentious, and that kind of like it made me understand more about the show. But it also like it's like I don't know if I like that. That's not something that's enjoyable to me. Like, to be confused and like kind of like feel like what is happening, in the
They're just
show.
trying too hard to be
Yeah.
something, to prove something, I feel.
Yeah.
We're intellectuals or something.
Right, exactly. Like, if you don't like this show, you're not smart. Like, or you
Yeah.
don't have enough, experience in film or something like that. I don't like that. But when he did explain that, like, this is what the point was, it made me understand, like, okay, that's the
Right.
point. Like, because I'm trying to figure out, why this is so confusing to me. But, he said that's the point of it. I want you to be confused.
Well, that's just sad. I feel like I wasn't meant to be watching it. It wasn't for
Yeah.
me then. I feel like he probably had a specific audience in mind, and I wasn't it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it was supposed to be for film lovers, people that enjoy cinematography, people that enjoy slow dialogue and slow pacing, because slow pacing shows and movies are not my forte. I don't know if you knew that about me, but that's not, where I enjoy, shows in general. Like, I enjoy a good story, a story that I can really dive into, a connection with characters. If you can have me connect with the characters, you got me.
Yeah.
You got me if you can have me connect with the characters. And with this show, there's only a few, and then like, at what cost? Sometimes I'm like, at what cost am I really caring about these characters?
And I just feel too like, there's always shows that I've seen that I really liked that I couldn't understand for the life of me, and then had to maybe watch one of those YouTube videos like Ending Explained or whatever, right?
Yeah,
I still like them, and I don't really know if those were like the creator's intentions was to confuse me to death. And if they were,
Lucas,
they never said that.
It was Lucas because he said it.
That's something you don't say out loud. You just keep to yourself.
Yeah, I think he felt confident enough in his work.
That sounds not liking that statement.
Yeah, me either. I didn't care for that either. And but like I said, it helped me understand like where the perspective was and where he's coming from. Like, it's supposed to be like that. So I'm like, okay, now I don't feel as bad. I think that's kind of what it.
That's not fun.
It's not. It like certain aspects of watching the show wasn't fun, but yeah, I mean, overall, like, there's some good things about it. A lot of things that we didn't really care for. But yeah.
I could totally see this show being like in one of those film classes where they like break it down. Let's dissect.
For sure. And that's kind of like, that's just like, I don't know. I don't know if I like that or not. Because there are some films that I really enjoy that are like that, but like, I don't know if your intention is to confuse me, like,
yeah, I'm not into
it.
Yeah. No.
I think something that kept me going though was definitely Frasier and Caitlyn's relationship, and the fact of knowing that it was only 8 episodes and it's a limited series.
Right. And like, that's perfectly fine to me. I think what upset me and frustrated me is that there was no point to it. Right. Like, there's like, maybe we saw little hints here and there, like toward like in the very last episode where we see closure and stuff like that, some sort of connection between Frasier and Caitlyn. That's something that we see, but that's like the only thing that we really discover is like this relationship and whatever. But what else do we learn from the show? Like,
that's the only thing I cared about, honestly.
Yeah, but like, see, nothing else is really revealed. Like, the creator Luca drops like little bombs here and there, but then nothing gets resolved. Like, remember that affair that the one mom had?
Yeah.
What the heck?
And it was over.
That? See?
Yeah, it didn't really. Yeah, it didn't. I mean, this show was a limited series, only 8 episodes, so it's only so much they could do, with what they had. Like, so they kind of wrapped it up. They had it happen and wrapped it up at the same time. But it felt like rushed.
Very rushed.
It felt rushed, and it just like, why do I care about this? Why do I even care about these characters? Give me something to care about.
he shouldn't have started something that he couldn't finish. Like, that's my only thing. It's like,
I
why
think
did you even put me in their situation?
I think he felt like he finished it though.
No, like he finished there is resolution and closure between Caitlyn and Frasier, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know like there was a lot of questions between like not the audience, but like maybe the people in the show, the characters, the surrounding characters, like what is up with Frasier and Caitlyn? Like, are they together? Like, are they a thing? Do they like each other? I think that was kind of like, are they, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then that whole closure, that kiss, I mean, it's open to interpretation if it was a romantic kiss or if it was like a friendship kiss, like a goodbye kiss. That's open to interpretation.
I don't. From what I saw, it looked like it looked like okay, we together. That's
right?
what it looked like for me.
That's how I took it too. Like maybe he realized things when he was kissing that other guy. He was like, "Wait,"
and like that was so confusing too because he was like, "Have you ever kissed a boy before?" And he was like, "No." And did you like it? No. That was it. Like, what? What is happening? Why are these things happening in the show? Like, I don't know.
it was just a dream.
Yeah,
Basically, had a dream.
Basically, and they told us at the end of the like in the finale, they were like, "We don't exist. We don't exist."
Wow. Damn. Okay. That was a waste of my time.
Right.
Like lost.
No, but there was some things in it that were not too bad. You got to admit that.
I mean, it's not. Look, it wasn't a waste of my time. It was just like it was frustrating because it went nowhere.
Agreed.
Agreed.
That's a good way to explain this show. Frustrating.
Like I wanted more from it, and I do understand it's a limited series. But me and you, I'm sure you can admit this. We've seen really good limited series shows. It can be done.
It can.
If he wanted it to be done, it could have been done.
Yeah. Just I feel like Guadagnino's vision didn't really captivate us in particular, but I know that there is an audience out there for this. And I'm not knocking those people. I'm not saying that they're horrible people or anything like that, but you know, it just didn't sit well with us. And that's just how it is.
I'm just glad it's over. Like,
yeah, me too.
Like I could start.
Me too. There were like episode like 4, 5, 6. I was like, oh man, I'm ready for this to be done. I'm ready for this to be over, man. Like, and I want a good ending, but I'm just ready for it to be over. And the fact that we had Caitlyn and Frasier together and that kiss at the end, I thought that was pretty satisfying, honestly.
That was an intense kiss.
Yeah, I thought it was satisfying for the show because that was really the only relationship I cared about. You know what I'm saying?
True. What do you think he told Caitlyn in the train? Because we don't hear it.
I know. I don't know. That's kind of up for speculation. Like I don't know. That's up for speculation. What do you think?
He's like, please don't leave, please. And then she's like fighting him. I have to go, Frasier. And then go. Please, it's your last night. Just be here with me. Be in the moment.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what he said, but yeah. Overall, yeah. Not for us. But if you guys enjoy the show, leave a comment. Let us know why you enjoy the show. We want to know. We would, talk it out with you. And so thank you for coming on the show, Eve from CineMantics. Let the people know where they can find you.
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram, CineMantics. And I post a lot of indie stuff. I post a lot of horror stuff, post reviews. I'm posting more recommendations for shows that I've been watching. And hopefully I do more lives with AJ, or maybe I'll do some lives of my own. I do plan hopefully in the future to do a live with my boyfriend, so stay tuned for that. And thanks for watching. Yeah,
that's gonna be awesome. You guys are gonna just kind of talk movies and different franchises and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, that's gonna be dope. I'm excited for that. So you're already here, AJREACTS2 YouTube channel, but you can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, Twitch, AJREACTS2 all across the board. I talk movies, music, TV, even food reviews, things like that. So stay tuned, and thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.